Good afternoon to all the ladies and gentlemen who are watching and catching us on Body, Mind, Soul Live Talk. Every Saturday, we are always here. So today we are going to look into the topic, pregnancy, loss, recovery, and postpartum. Before we start, let me just ask, how is everyone doing? This is Christina Teng, your regular host. We have been doing this weekly at Body, Mind, Soul platform, and we hope that, and always it is our desire to impact life positively. One of the reasons that, we decided to go ahead with this topic is because, as we are discussing, we realize that there are a lot of questions has not been answered. One of the very first question is, do you know what to do for post-pregnancy preparation and care? And how about, do you know how healing can take place for a woman who has lost her baby? And do you want to know, how about the husband? How about the father? What can the husband do for himself? And what can the husband do to support the entire family as a couple, as a family as well? So welcome to everyone. And today we will be having not just me, but our guest all the way from US. It's really a different time zone. It's 3 p.m. over here in Malaysia. It's 3 a.m. at her spot. And I always admire her for accepting this invitation to join us. And you know what? If this is your first time, do follow Body, Mind, Soul Facebook page. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, click the bell button and subscribe, because you will be impacted positively every week with different variety of topics. And nothing is coincidence. From this week onwards, all the way for the next 2 weeks, we are going to touch on mother's topics. So do stay tuned with us. If you yourself is a mother, and if you are a brand new mother, and you do not know what to do, you do not know what to expect, we are here to support you. We are here to also let you know what else you can do to improve yourself. And let us know, where are you watching this from? If you feel this topic is really something dear to you, or to your friends, click the share button and share out to your friends on your social media or even on your YouTube channel as well. All right, so I think we are going to invite our guest soon. So good afternoon. And are you ready? Are you getting ready to be a mother soon? I think first I need to find a boyfriend before I can get ready or profoundly say to everyone over here live that I'm ready to be a mother. And I need to find a boyfriend first, okay? So thank you very much for asking. So for those who are very new to us, do let me know, where are you from and who are you tuning in? And we love to engage with the crowd. It is a topic today. We will focus more on the pregnancy loss recovery, and also the postpartum care, not just for those who have lost their baby, but also those who have delivered as a general. So a topic. So let us know where you're coming in, where you're tuning in. I'm always here to welcome you, and I love, to engage with the crowd. If you have any question that you wish to ask Yuvelca later, do type it into the comment. Make sure you are watching this directly on Facebook page, our Body, Mind, Soul Facebook page, or Body, Mind, Soul Magazine YouTube, because if you're watching it from other spot and you comment, I won't be able to see it. We won't be able to receive it. So we really hope we can answer as many questions, as many doubts that you have, to support you and to help you through the journey. Okay, so do help me to put up your hands and warm up your palms. This is my regular way of doing it, so that you can also be part of this conversation together with us on this beautiful Saturday. And warm up your palm and clap, clap, clap to welcome our guest today, all the way from USA, Yuvelca, a certified holistic, full spectrum certified advanced doula. Hello, Yuvelca. I love your background. I must say this again.
Thank you for having me, Christina. I'm very happy to be here.
Again. We will be having you soon again. Nothing is complete without a series of 3. That's what I always believe, So this is the second time that we have had Yuvelca. The first round, we talk about preparing ourselves as a woman or as a family preparing ourselves to have a family, for pregnancy. And today we are here to talk about, pregnancy, loss, recovery, and postpartum care is because I think a lot of times I realize, or even my team realize, pregnancy loss is something that hardly discussed over here, or at least I'm not aware of. So before we go into the topic, we hope that Yuvelca, you can let us know a little bit what is the role of doula, all right, in this pregnancy, loss, recovery, and also postpartum. Because you mentioned last round, there are many roles, many things that doula can do. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. This is a doula is a companion. So she is a non-medical companion throughout the whole process. When you're trying to get pregnant, when you're pregnant, when you have the baby, and then after for postpartum care. But there are specialties that a doula can get trained in. We have end-of-life doulas. We have PALE, trauma-aware doulas. PALE is pregnancy and infant loss. I have been trained by Neka Hall from Quilt, Quietly United in Loss Together. And in her PALE program, it's for pregnancy and infant loss, but there's a difference because you have pregnancy loss and then you have infant loss. So when you take this training, you have not only certification, but a specialty in this particular area only, and you understand the sensitivity of it. And you go forth in helping the family, the full spectrum, the whole family, carefully, because it's a very, very sensitive area, and you don't want to cause any further harm by anything that you might say or anything that you might do. Because as a doula, when you just speak of, just doula as a companion through your pregnancy, you expect that it comes out positive. Sometimes you enter this sacred space and it's not a positive outcome. So what do? A lot of people get caught off guard, but when you have this particular PALE training, you are prepared. Yes, we can go in, and we're going to have this baby. But if there's a turn of events, you as the doula, you as this companion, you are prepared, to take on, the shift in this sacred space.
Yeah.
Yes. To give further support to the mother, to the father, and sometimes to the clinicians that are there themselves, because we often don't remember the father in this space. And we also forget that there are nurses and doctors that are also in this sacred space experiencing this loss with you as well.
Yes. Thank you so much, Yuvelca. And we have quite a lot of hello to you. Hello, Yuvelca. You look fresh. And we have Kelvin. Hi, Kelvin. Good afternoon, Kelvin. If you can, do share this out as well. So we hope that this topic will also impact more people and help them, give them some answers as well. So Yuvelca, you mentioned that you are also under training for PALE, pregnancy and infant loss. Is that correct, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
pregnancy and infant loss. I am an advocate and a trainer.
Yeah, so what got you into that? What is your story?
Well, my story is that, I also experienced loss. My daughter experienced loss. But, to get to my story, because you could only, it's fair to share your own story. Somebody else's stories is theirs to share. I didn't have that support. I experienced loss, and I was in this world by myself. And when you're in that space and you don't have the support, there's people that say insensitive things to you, like, "Oh, don't worry, you're young. You can have another child," or "Why don't you get over it?" It's an insensitivity to the grieving process, that there's a time limit on it, and there isn't. Everyone grieves differently. So when I went through this, I felt alone. I went into a depression. I didn't even know if I was going to have another child. As a matter of fact, I thought that I wasn't going to have another child.
Was it your first pregnancy or?
Well, it was my second. So, I had my son, my oldest son is 28 now.
Mm-hmm.
And in that process, let me take it back a little bit. We also have to understand the situations that we're in before we get pregnant. I wasn't in a very good situation. It was a very traumatic event, being in this particular relationship. You know how you say you have to find the right person, and it and it was also
we talk about this last round during our live talk, and definitely our admin can share out our last live talk together with Yuvelca, that we talk about. You have to find the right person. You have to know whether this person in the right frequency, and you were sharing like now that it was not the right person for you. Okay.
Oh, I was crazy in love, and then I was foolish too. I didn't take the necessary steps, and I was very young. And once again, we go back to that support system, because once you have the support system and you're surrounded by women that have been through this, and women that are imparting their wisdom, and you're willing to listen, because sometimes you can deal with a young person, a young woman, and she's not listening. So the situation was not ideal. The relationship was not healthy. And then I experienced a loss. And then when I go to speak to, the people that I do have around me, it's like, don't worry, miscarriage is nothing. A loss is not, you can have another one. It's no worries at all, no problems. You can keep going on with your life. But inside, your body is still going through the process of you being pregnant. You have the hormones going in. It's a lot of things to consider, and it's a very, very heavy subject. That we're just talking about here, the loss. Because then, how do you pick yourself up from that? How do you process it, and then how do you move forward to have another child? Because I did have 4 more pregnancies after that. So, and 3 more children later, 3 more children later, 2 losses. So I have 2 spirit babies, and 2 different situations. But nonetheless, the grieving process is what it is. And there is no time limit on that. And when you're working with someone as a doula, and I say doula very lightly, because you do need the training. You do need PAIL training. So that way you have this just in case. When you go into this, you have to tread very carefully. You have to keep your mouth closed and just listen a little bit more.
Yeah. And I believe because of your personal experience, it got you into finding, is there a way that you can support those ladies who are going through something that you have gone through, because you realize at that point of time you have no one to support, no one to speak to, and you got into depression, and I think this is a very beautiful journey that you had. Yeah. And thank you so much for coming up here to share with us pregnancy, loss, recovery, and postpartum. And I'm sure it's going to help more audience out there. So maybe I just move a little bit forward to the questions that we kind of like had, to wanting to know more about, what is the care or support that is required for the mother after losing their babies, or prior to that, Yuvelca, in what situation that there are potential of losses?
Wow, that's
Based on your, I know it's a very big thing, but maybe we can just touch it a little bit, so that for those who have not gone through, or who don't have this experience, they perhaps can have more compassion when they've heard of their friends going through a situation as such.
Okay, so to answer that, then I would go with the facts, and that's why I took notes, because this is another thing too, that when you experience a loss and you're also a professional, you have to make sure that you keep your personal experience out of this, because everybody's journey is different. So, like I was stating before, pregnancy loss and infant loss are 2 separate things. In pregnancy loss, you have a miscarriage, which is a spontaneous loss of a pregnancy before the 20th week, the 24th week, or the 27th week, depending on the location. But it's usually before the 12th week. And then you have stillbirth, which we call born sleeping. And that's a fetal death that occurs after 20, 24, 27, or 28 weeks of pregnancy. And then there's a fatal diagnosis, a pregnancy in which a baby may perish prior to or shortly after birth due to an irreversible illness. So that we have with pregnancy loss. And then infant loss, there's so many. You have SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. You have shaken baby syndrome, and then any chronic illnesses, accidents, abuses, or
Then the list goes
anything.
on. Yeah,
Yeah.
understand. So we briefly touch about it. I just hope that this information is useful to the audience as well. But I think most importantly is the topic title, the recovery process. So what is the care and support required for the mother after losing her baby?
Well, as a professional, you need to understand that not only the mother, but the father and the family, they're going through deep grief and loss. So me as a provider, I would have to go with the flow on how they want to recover without pushing, without, and allowing them space that if they want to talk about their child, to talk about the child, to encourage. The training that I received, she has me thinking in a way to encourage building the memories for the family, although they might not be ready for it. Like prepare a memory box, take pictures, because these are the things that, while the family and the mom, the father, they're going through the grieving process, at the end of the day, they're going to have these pictures later on. They'll have this memory box to remember and honor their child or their children. Because remember, we also have to understand that sometimes it's multiple pregnancies. It could be a loss of twins. It could be loss of triplets. Grief is grief and a loss is a loss, and all of them are important. So when you're going through that healing process, of course, bring the mom, the family some tea. We always go in with food, right? We always go in with nutrition. We always go in with love. Be as gentle as possible and understand that the situation is different for everyone, and that's a difficult part. It's not a one and done. It's not
There's
a
no
fix it.
standard procedure operation manual.
No, that there really isn't, because we're all individuals. Some of us can move along through the grieving process, and I don't want to say this quicker than others because there's no time, but it seems as though, they're moving along or they're able to recover, as we say. But the healing process is almost like, any injury and any wound, the healing process is different for everyone. So it's really individual based. You have to be in that space with the mother, the father, the family, and help them heal how they allow you to, without pressing, without pushing,
I
and
think this
just
is
help them build memories.
Yeah, I think this is a very good tips for the extended family members. When your sister or your friend gone through something like this, you hold that space of not pushing them, but you also hold that space, allowing that the person, either the mother or the father, to express to you whenever they feel they are comfortable to talk about it. I feel this is a very good tip. And Yuvelca, would you what about based on your experience that you have handled so many different cases, or your clients, right? You have supported so many families. What are the main thing that you would like the mother who have just lost their baby, whether it's a pregnancy lost or, what is that main thing or the main message or one of the main tips that you feel is very important for you to express to support them with either emotionally, mentally, or physically?
Well, from professional experience and personal experience, connect with those that have been through a loss too. Only those that have been in the same space that you are in can understand that. And let's not also forget the children, because you might have little ones and they're not understanding what's going on. Like, why is mommy sad? Why is that? Where's my brother and sister? Just really the support group. That's the most important thing. Reach out and get support. And also, the family, the extended family, like, be together in a family unit so that way you are aware of what symptoms are for severe depression, We forget about those things. We forget about, looking to see what these symptoms might be. Because when someone is already experiencing loss, of course they're going to be sad. Of course they're going to go through grief, however long that is. But just to notice those signs where medical attention might be needed for depression, those that's like the primary to me, like to be aware of those things, because everything else is individualized. It's you have to go with the flow on that, and you have to be mindful. You have to have compassion. You have to have patience. And like right now, I'm doing a lot of talking. You really have to be silent in that space and just use more your eyes and your ears.
And Yuvelca, just a quick question. When the mother kind of like found out that losing the baby already, in the pregnancy, how does their body feels like? Do they still feel as though the baby are still inside the womb, sitting in? Do they feel that?
Absolutely. I mean,
I have
there's
to.
different
Yeah, I have to
experiences.
be honest. I'm still single. That's why the first question that throw into from the audience, like, am I ready to be a mother? So that is why I asked this question with lots of respect. Yeah. So for you to also explain to us as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll put a disclaimer out there that we're not out here to be insensitive. We know that there's different kind of losses, but it's through the communication.
Yeah.
That we connect and we get understanding, and also when your audience gives feedback, like correct us, send the
Yes.
messages out there and say, hey, what about this? Getting back to your question, yes, of course. A mom can feel phantom kicks, or ghost
Phantom
movements.
kicks.
Yeah,
Oh,
of
okay.
course. We need to understand that the mind is very powerful. It's also, like your show and your magazine is body, mind, and soul. All of it is connected. So when she's experienced a loss, and I can say for myself, yeah, you'll say, oh, but I thought I felt the baby move, and that might not be the case. And I say might not be the case because everybody's situation is different. But she might think like, oh, but I think, but I know, and that's not the case. And this is why we have to tread lightly, and we need the training. Yes, you can be a doula, you can be a support person, because you don't necessarily have to be a trained doula to support a pregnant person, right? You could be a sister, you could be a mom, you can be an aunt, you can be a brother, you can be
Friend.
it's just a support. But you have to be mindful, that there's extra training, for this. Pale training is very, very important. And I realized it once I got in it, because like I said, I experienced loss, but my mind was nowhere near what it is now. Like now I'm so aware. Now I'm trauma aware. And I'm also informed, so I can see little things. Once you do the training and then you have the experience and you deal with other people, it's almost having like a spidey sense. You can feel things going on, and you know how to maneuver in that space, to support each individual person in there.
And I think to just kind of like have a quick sums up for the mothers who are watching this, if you can do something like this to help out yourself, definitely is, or also people around who are here to support your friends or your sister, definitely is hold the space and allow the parents to share their feelings. That's one of them. And if we can also help them to prepare the memory box that has all those small little things. I think this comes after when they kind of like gone through the entire procedures. I'm sure they have, as a family prior to the delivery, before the losses, I'm sure the parents have bought lots of things, anticipating the child to born on earth, So I'm sure all these things, they will need someone to support next to them. And also for all those parents who are going through this, connect and reach out to those who have gone through the losses, so that, you can have the right people to speak to and the right pair of ears to understand your situation and understand your emotion. I think this is also very important. And if, the grief is not being taken care of, you didn't allow your space to grieve. There are people who will tell themselves, I can't stay in this because it's too painful, and they just want to cut it short. But I feel, Yuvelca, from what I've learned from you is if things are not handled properly, it may flows into depression. It may impact the mother's health, relationship, or even the next pregnancy. So what, Yuvelca, in this spectrum or in this context, what is your say on this?
I mean, we know when it comes to like womb wellness that, there are things that like generational trauma and things of that nature that it passes through. But staying with this space that we're talking about in loss, I just thought to mention, let's not forget that the father has gone through a loss too.
Yeah.
We have the men in these spaces that, they're the protector of the family, and I'm the protector of my wife and of this home, and they weren't able to protect during this time. So, let's just be, and this is what I'm saying, when you have the training, you look at all these spaces and you try to, give comfort and compassion, and just heal, help them heal, because you're healing too. As a provider, you're going through vicarious trauma.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
it's really like what we have discussed right before the live went live today. I did mention to you, I realized, a lot of time we focus a lot on the mother, and we kind of like forgotten the fathers. The father has their own emotional well-being that need to be taken care of as well before he can support his wife or the family, or taking care of the children. If, like, for instance, they have other children, they have other small little kids that is don't understand what is going on, right? So Yuvelca, what is your tips to the men out there when they have to face this kind of loss and going into the process of recovery?
just to realize that, that you are grieving. We always have like these memes going around in social media that we forget to check on the strong ones, and to just let men and brothers and sons, understand that it's okay. It's okay to show your emotions. It's okay for you as well to reach out for support, even though, when you look around, it's rare, because you're the strong one. And usually we don't check in with the strong one, because the strong ones are the strong ones, the protectors are. Just know that you need protection too. You need protecting, you need healing as well too. So to reach out as well for support groups, as well, or reach out to a doula. That's what she's here, to do. And also, like I mentioned before, with this pale training, my teacher, Neka Hall, she doesn't play. She says, make sure that you have resources. So it was my job to have resources for my whole state, or the states that I serve. So that would be Pennsylvania, New York, Queens, Brooklyn, in this area. And then now that I'm dealing, with you, Christina, I'm also doing research like, what's going on? What's going on in Malaysia? What do they have over there? And I say just in case, to be prepared, because that's what I've been trained to do. Whoever you deal with, whoever's in your circle, what happens if they ask you a question? You should be prepared to give them some kind of resources. And that also goes for the fathers, the men, and the brothers, the uncles, that masculine, the men that might be going through this. We need to help them out too, even if they don't say anything. We know that they're not well. We know that you are not okay. It's just being mindful of that, being mindful that they just experienced a traumatic event, and that they're not okay.
I'm going to pause you here a little bit, because we have Sylvia all the way from Austria saying, hello, beautiful ladies. An important issue, even if it is very painful to understand, and men mourn in a different way too. So Yuvelca, based on your experience, how do men mourn or go through their grief based on cases that you have handled? Maybe you can share a little bit so our audience can relate, or they know if they are the one who's going through. Besides reaching out to support group, what else can they do to address or allow themselves to express or go through the grief journey and recover from it?
Well, from my experiences, the men get distant and they get quiet.
Mm,
And it's almost as to say, I'm giving her space. I've seen that a lot too. Like it's a separation,
mm.
instead of, and I'm
Coming
just talking about
together.
one.
Yeah.
And there's been another case where the father, the dad, was fully in tune with his wife. He could read her body language. He knew, he was very present with her. But the majority that I have been,
Mm,
it's a distance. It's almost like, okay, I'll let you heal there, and if you need something, you come to me. It's almost like, the strong woman thing. you know
mm,
you're a strong woman, you can handle this, you let me know if you need something. But
mm,
she might not say that to you,
mm,
because that's her grieving process. So it's more like and I say this professionally, to work with the couple, just to give that kindly, loving, compassionate reminder that you're
mm.
in this together. You both have experienced a loss, and together you can heal.
Would
Together.
you would you advise, the couple to actually have a conversation, have like a heart to heart conversation at any time, or to cry together? I think I'm just imagining it. I'm just imagining it. Some might actually feel this is such a taboo topic to talk about because they don't want to make the other half to feel more painful, so they rather have the distant, you let me know when you need me, right?
Absolutely. That's what it is. That's what it is. And and we've always talked about this even last time when you had me on. It's the communication, it's the conversation. And just to understand that each one, the wife is grieving separately and differently, and the father, the husband, is grieving differently and separately. It's like collectively you're grieving, and then individually you're grieving. And
Mm,
just to be mindful of that, so when
mm,
they have that support, it's not all going to go great. We're here talking about it like it's going to go great in a perfect world, like, oh, they're able to talk, and no, sometimes you have to reach out like, hey, how you doing? Everything's okay? Do you want to talk about it? And allow the person to speak in that space, even though it's hurtful, because that's where the healing begins. It's
mm,
not going to be that you're going to talk about something and it's not going to hurt. We in this world, well, and I say in my world, a lot of people think that it's like happy, happy, joy, joy, or you fall and you scrape yourself and you bump your knee and you're in pain and you got a wound and you just pick yourself right back up and keep on going. Sometimes that pick me up is a little bit difficult, and sometimes that pick me up takes time.
mm, mm. I think one of the very important for the couple to also know is to have that conversation with each other. Allow the two of you, to go through the grief together as a couple. Yeah. So we have kind of like, at the back, my admin is helping us to put out all the summaries for the father, do for all those friends around a couple who have gone through a pregnancy loss. We do need to also acknowledge the man grieves for the loss of their infant or their baby, or the pregnancy as well. And also, Yuvelca, how about, so if the father acknowledge his own emotion, communicate and discuss together with the wife, what else can a father do to support his wife?
Just be there with her. Just be, we're there is no right way, there is no wrong way. Be present in the space. Is almost like holding space. How we professionals and all our holistic friends say, I'm gonna hold space for you. Hold space and be present. Sometimes just sitting quietly, just not
Mm,
even saying a word. I'm just to let each other, and I don't want to just say the mom because he's experiencing it too. Just let one another know that I'm here for you. If you
mm,
want to come over and hold my hand, if you want to give me a hug, if you want to do nothing at all and just sit with me, that's important too. And we also need to address anger.
mm,
Sometimes, yes, the mom, but more so, that I want to talk about, like the anger with the men and fathers. They might be angry that this happened, or angry that they couldn't do something about it. Just to be mindful of that, and to keep your anger in check, and check the healthy levels of it, because anger can be harmful. So these are just things to consider. Like I said,
Wow.
it's an individual basis, but there's certain things, the same thing with depression. Men also experience postpartum
And
depression.
And a lot of time, the anger will turn into blaming each other. And I believe that will also create disharmony in the relationship, right? Yeah. So I guess
Absolutely.
this is a very good highlights for all of us to be aware of. Yeah. So we have some comments over here. Yes, it is important for the couple to communicate a lot to understand each other. So true, Magdalena, I think Yuvelca, yeah. Just be there for your wife and listen. Yes, exactly. So that is so, so true. But, Yuvelca, we might have cases that the couple lost the pregnancy, right? And they want to plan for the next one to come. What would your advice be for the couples as such, or for their mentally or emotionally? What are the preparation that they should do?
First, I would like to, let's take a deep breath on that one. And I would like to say, it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be afraid. And it's okay to not know what to think or do next, because this is something that the unknown, you don't know what to expect. To also keep an open mind and an open heart, to the possibilities of what can be. And it's difficult. It's difficult because there's a lot of feelings that can go in here, besides being afraid, of experiencing another loss. Because there's also studies, and cases and situations that have occurred that they do get pregnant. They do have another child. And then they go into this process of a little bit of guilt.
Guilt?
Yeah, you can have those feelings, because depending on the loss, and like I said, it's an individualized
Yeah.
basis. I had a friend of mine had a loss, and I can't get into too many details, but she had a
Yes.
loss, and then shortly after got pregnant again. So you
Mm-hmm.
know how sometimes there's a waiting period, like wait the 40 days. She got pregnant shortly after, and in that process, her body was still communicating as the postpartum part of the previous child. Wow, she's pregnant. You understand what I'm saying? It's every situation is different.
And
So
unique in that sense.
yeah, so she was feeling kind of sad, feeling kind of guilty, and these emotions, we need to understand that they're emotions. They aren't right and they aren't wrong. They're feelings. You have to process them and go through them. And any feeling can come to you at any time. You can feel guilt for whatever reason. And this is why we have to be careful and get the training, because sometimes we go in and we try to use logic, and we try to say, well, you're feeling this way because, or maybe. How about you're feeling it because it's a feeling that you just felt right now? It's part of the human experience. We try to go into these spaces, and I say as professionals, and get all technical, and this is what it is because we study, we have the book smarts, but what about the heart smarts?
Yeah.
What about that? It is hard work, and sometimes, because I've been noticing, to keep myself in check, that you can be working at this, and because this is what you work in, that you can get desensitized. Like, okay, it's just another person I'm working with, and okay, you experienced a loss, and no, each person is an individual. Each
So
experience is different.
so one of the main thing, or the main tips that you want to shout out to those who have experienced losses and want to prepare for their next pregnancy is, don't be, afraid is one thing, but just surrender it, because you really don't know what will come. and expect the best, I believe. What else? Anything that you want to top it up?
And just, I mean, the connection, because you're starting again. It's still the unknown, you know. Just take it slow. And I say this very carefully because I've known people that have loss after loss. And it's so difficult, and that's why you see me hesitating here to say certain things, because it's on an individualized basis. I don't know who might be listening in right now, and this is their fourth time or their fifth time that they're trying, and they've tried to be positive, and I try to, to slow down, and I try to be okay, but I'm experiencing a loss again. So that's why you see my hesitancy here, because it is on an individualized basis. I cannot give, you know,
Yeah,
a one fit
specific.
a one fit
Yeah,
all.
yeah, understand. But I believe one of the main key thing is to also be connected with our own body, right? And be connected with our own emotions. And it's okay to feel whatever that we felt or what we feel, especially at the time that you mentioned. There might be guilt, there might be other emotions that will surface out. I believe the first thing is just allow yourself to feel what it is, like what you say. How about your heart? Heart smart, not the brain smart. You can read so many things from Google nowadays. Based on one symptoms, you can read so many informations about it, but a lot of times those things are based on data. It might not fit ourselves, it might not fit me either, because I'm unique in one way. So that is definitely one of the things that for all those who are out there who are listening to also take note of. It's nothing that is one fit for all, but we are only here to perhaps suggest as a reference, that you can take note of, you can be aware of. Yeah? Okay?
Absolutely. And just to be mindful that it's a healing process. So if you're asking me, what advice, to just always be mindful of the things that you can do to heal along the way, journaling, meditation, staying connected to your higher source, the support group, reaching out to friends, allowing friends to reach out to you, because sometimes you can go through loss and you just want to shut the whole world out. And it's okay to have your own personal space, the mother and the father, and then the family as a unit, but just to keep those healing modalities in place. And all the supports, I could only say on this end, because, I know that you said on your end, you have like confinement nurses. Over here is the doula. Over here, we reach out, we suggest reach out to your doula, reach out to the provider that you have, your companion. Reach out, and just that, the connection with your higher source, journaling all those emotions out, better out than in, right? If you
Yes.
can't speak to someone else, write it down. Light your candles. This is why, like we mentioned before, the memory box, those things are important in this space.
Healing process.
Yeah, just the whole, and there's so many, right? We can go get massages, and just even a steam, right? A warm bath, or some oils, or just all those things to help us with our bodies to heal, because our minds might not be there. But sometimes when you open up an essential oil, just the smell might just open up and just calm you down a little bit, or a nice cup of tea. Just keep those things in mind. And I know that they might be basic to some people, but just keep it simple, because we don't know, and we want to tread lightly in this space, because once again, like I said, I've been trained to just don't cause any further trauma. So, be careful with what you say. Be careful on how you ask things. Just to be mindful, because how would you like to be treated if this was you? You have to walk into a space that way. If this is you, or like me, that I have experienced, what would have helped me in this space? Sometimes you just want the person to be quiet. Just sit here with me.
Understand.
Let me cry. Let me cry. Let me.
Understand. Understand that. Well, I'm just gonna change the tone a little bit. Yeah. So to all those mothers out there who resonate with this topic, or who resonates with whatever that we have shared so far, thank you very much for listening with us. We hope this have been a healing journey for you as well as we speak. I'm just going to turn the vibes a little bit to talk about the postpartum care. So we do have like your profession's way of looking at postpartum. So what I can't speak much because I'm not a mother. Neither do my admin. The one that is a mother has kind of like left the building or left this broadcast studio. So Yuvelca, what is the postpartum care that the women should be taking care of or take note of? At least one or the two tips from you.
Just to understand that you just went through a whole process of 9 months to create another human being. Slow down and allow other people to take care of you. Say what you need. Connect with others so that they can make you some food. So that way you could spend time to not only bond with yourself, but to bond with your child, to bond with your husband. And this is throughout the whole process. Take in those warm meals. Just know that your body's going through different changes. Read a good book. Once again, journal. Just to slow it down a little bit, because here where we are, it's usually, you have a child and you get right back to work, and you have other children that need you. Just to reach out. Once again, it's the communication, the support group. Have other people, because you might have other children. Have other people help you. And sometimes
For us over here, we have like the 30 to 40 days of confinement period. I think we kind of shared with you, right? This confinement lady, which is someone like a doula, will be there to cook the nutrition's meal, and with herbs for Chinese, with herbs for Malay, different races, they will have their different ways of going through this confinement period or this postpartum care. And then we will have that lady to take care of the baby, the infant, to cook the meals, and to kind of like teach you how to do if you are like your first time being a mother. So like we'll teach that mother how to bathe the child, the baby, things like that. So and
the same here. The
same
same
here,
here.
right?
But the thing is
Yeah.
that when we were talking about it before, you told me that everybody, all moms have that. Over here, we don't. Every mom doesn't have access to that. So
Wow.
it's a blessing if she has an extended family of women that help her out. Some women here actually are on their own. So you do the best with what you have. But at the end of the day, if you're able to have a doula, blessed to have like this confinement nurse, right? Utilize it. But
How
here, not
long is
everyone
the
has that.
duration? How long is the duration that you would advise a mother to slow things down to allow the body to recuperate and rejuvenate?
I mean, we say postpartum period. Once you have a child, you are in postpartum period. So take care of yourself throughout, because it's a whole flow of emotions, right? But we
Whoa.
do have the 40 days. We do have the 40 days. I explained to you before, my family's from the Dominican Republic. So yo soy dominicana. And that's staple to us. Like I had my mom take care of me, my sisters take care of me, my aunts take care of me, culturally speaking. Even though I'm in America, culturally, that's what we do. But in America, not everyone has that. You need to work with where you are, but it's important to understand that your body is going through some changes. It took you this long to grow another human. The process of giving birth is not one to be taken lightly. It's a beautiful event, as we spoke earlier, both positive and negative things. And I'm saying negatives like bad. I'm just saying that you can experience a loss. You can have a beautiful child too at the end of it, but you also have to take care of yourself. And then depending on where you had it, did you have a child in the hospital? Then you have to be mindful of all the medicines, right? The things that they put in you, to induce your labor. Because over here, they do a lot of C-sections. They induce you. They have Pitocin. You have to be mindful of what was just put into your body. Or you can have a child naturally at home without a lot of interventions, and you heal differently. So the process and healing, once again, individualized basis, but it all starts with food. It all starts with your mental health, to keep everyone calm, especially mom, because it's her body. And I don't want, once again, just knock out the dad. I'm not saying, because he goes through the process too, but
Yeah.
she's going through the physical process. So she needs to physically take care of her body, the best nutritional way possible, the de-stressing. And how do you do that? You do that with the support, because if you still have to do everything yourself, let's say, Christina, you said, oh, I haven't had a child, but what happens if you're a single mom? What happens if you started out in a relationship with someone and then now you're a single mom? You have to go have this child. Who's going to be there for you for your postpartum if you didn't put a budget to the side to
Yeah.
actually
Correct.
pay for someone to be there for you? Or if
Yes.
you don't have that, what happens if your family is far away in another country? You have family. If your mother was here, she would help you. If your sister was here, she would help you. But what if you don't have those things? And then I also have to throw in here, being in America, we have a very big issue with, our Black and women of color and our immigrants suffering, during this process, so we have to be mindful of that. Some of them cannot afford to take the time to have postpartum care. So once again, individualized basis, but to take care of yourself, of course, it starts with the food, it starts with your mental health, and it starts with getting that support, the support system.
Nice, nice, nice. And also for those mothers who went through losses, they also need to go into this postpartum care, isn't it?
Of course, their body's going through it, correct? We sometimes we have to think, and this is what I'm saying, being mindful, like being a profession, being a provider, being a support person. If someone just experienced the loss, just think of it biologically. She has empty arms. She doesn't have a child to hold, but her body, her breasts are still filling up with milk, right? We have to be mindful of these things. You still have those hormones in your body. What is she going through? Ask the questions. And a lot of us are women that deal with other women, that support other women. Just seriously be mindful. If this was you, what would be beneficial for you? Just take a step back. And then if you're a professional and you've been doing this for a while, take a step back and just know that this is an individual person. Each person's story is different. And I say this primarily like in America for the clinicians, the doctors and the nurses, because remember, they're going through this and it's almost like a quick turnaround,
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to be insensitive here, but it's like you're having a child, you're having a child, you're having a child. In room A, somebody had a loss. In room B, somebody had twins. In room C, you know what I mean? And they're experiencing vicarious trauma, whether they realize it or not. But then it's also to be sensitive enough to each individual person. How many deliveries does a doctor do in a day? That's a good question, right? Depending on the hospital, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's about the humanity of it. Like I said, to be heart smart, to
Nice.
understand that this might be the a person's first time having a child after I don't know how many losses. We have to be mindful. We don't know. So we have to walk in, to be trauma aware. We have to. And this is, once again, I'm going to say it again, Christina, PAIL training is important. Pregnancy and infant loss training is important. Yes, you can be a doula. Yes, you can be a support person, a provider, but you need to have extra training just in case you come across a situation. What will you do? You do not want to cause further harm, further
Understand.
trauma.
Understand. Just now you touch a little bit about the breastfeeding. I think it will be interesting to know from your perspective or your personal view, just for a reference, during the postpartum care, what is the breastfeeding experience for a new mother that she needs to kind of like expect?
This is another thing, and I wrote a article for you on this because once again we're looking to look for steps, like what does it take, it's a learning experience for both mother and child. You know, what's
Ah.
most important is that you want to have a good latch, you know, with your child. And that takes practice and that takes support. And this is another thing too. If you have a doula, your doula can give you breastfeeding 101, the basics.
Mm.
If your doula is a lactation consultant, that's great. You know, because that means that she specializes in breastfeeding. Do you see what I'm
Mm.
saying? That you can,
Mm.
a doula can have a general knowledge, but she needs to take the studies and do special trainings to further support a mom. And
Mm.
and when we talk about breastfeeding, yes, that is the most nourishing for your child, of course. But we also have to keep in mind that at the end of the day, it's about feeding your child. It's about feeding your child. And once again, let's include dad in here too. We know dads are not going to be breastfeeding, but we might want to involve him. You know, some
In
moms,
like how can we involve the father in the breastfeeding process?
he can be there. It's almost like mealtime, right? When you have dinner with someone, you put an extra seat, you know, have him be
Ah.
present. He can massage, you know, mom's breast.
Mm.
Sometimes some mothers choose to bottle feed during that time. So that way dad can have his one-to-one time with the baby in feeding. You know,
Mm.
there's so many, Christina, this is individualized process. You
Mm.
know, it's what women, moms need to understand is what is best for you and your family. The same thing with dads. It's what is best for you and you. Stop listening to all the doctors, the medias, and everything. What is best for you and your family? Do you want to breastfeed? Breastfeed. Learn, get support. You know, the latch is important. If you're having difficulties, get the support. You know,
Mm.
if you want to
Mm.
do 50-50, you want to breastfeed and bottle feed, that is your choice. At the end of the day, we want healthy children that are being fed.
Nice. Nice. And I like, what you say. Just put down all those recommendations for any professionals, but also go with your own hearts. What is best for you? What is best for your boy or your girl? What is best for your husband as well as the family? What is best for your family? I'm sure, we always say mothers has the strongest guts feeling. You kind of have the intuitions to know what is best for you, and of course we respect all the wisdom that we can get from the elders of women that is in our family, but sometimes mothers do have that instinct that they know, hey, I think this way might be better. But I like it. I like what you have just shared with
Yeah.
us, and I'm just going to pull out an article that you have written for Body Mind Soul. It's called The Mother Wound, Healing the Feminine Energy. And this is such an inspiring and healing article that I really wish to share with everyone. For those who are not aware, Body Mind Soul e-magazine, all our digital copy are free for public to read. All you need to do is just join the community, create an account, and you can download the magazine free. The sign up of the account is free as well. So this particular article that Yuvelca has written for Body Mind Soul is published on volume 29, which is our latest volume at this point of time. So of course we want to thank Yuvelca for sending in more articles, and your next article on Body Mind Soul is about breastfeeding. And thank you very much. And I think today the audience are rather very attentive because the topic, like you said, is rather heavy, and you actually asked us, are you sure you want to talk about this? And we said, you know what, no one has really go in and discuss about this and let all the audience know that there is such a support system available here, whether it's through Body Mind Soul, whether it's directly with Yuvelca. And for anyone out there, if you wish to be connected with Yuvelca directly or to understand more, you can email it to her. And I'm sure now, time zone is not a problem at all. You can see Yuvelca here with us at 4 a.m. now in her time, and she's still looking so fresh and happy and vibrant. So this is one of the way that you can connect with Yuvelca. Yeah, so my admin will also pull out the email later. You can also drop it an email if you have more question that you don't feel comfortable to voice it out in this platform. We respect that. We understand that. But do remember that, Body Mind Soul is always here to listen to you. If you need any help or if you need any reference, just let us know. We will definitely direct you to the right profession. So once again, thank you to Yuvelca. Yuvelca, any last takeaway, like I always ask you, before we end this live talk, to the parents who go through a loss or who are in the journey of recovering or who are in the postpartum care journey?
Just to know that they're not alone. You're not alone, and it's a difficult time, but reach out where you can. Thank you for allowing me to be in this space. I do leave myself open for those to send me an email. I have information. I will be more than happy to send it out because it's important. We are all connected regardless of the time zone. This is spirit work. This is woman's work. This is heart work. This is family work. So let's just be mindful of that. Let's just go in being heart smart.
Yeah,
that's
and I love that. Heart smart. And to all the audience, if you have just joined us, you know what? This video is available lifetime on our platform. Just need to follow us on Body Mind Soul magazine page on Facebook, or click the subscribe button on our YouTube channel if you are watching us from YouTube, and you will be able to watch this. And also, maybe you want to replay some of the information just in case you miss it out. So with that, I will say thank you to Yuvelca and have a very good evening and good morning to you, Yuvelca. But to all the audience, have a very great evening and a great weekend this weekend as well. So with that, goodbye, everyone. Bye.